Hello, future grandmasters. As many of you know, they call me the bad boy of chess. I received no invitations, no support, no sponsorships, emphasis on the invitations. And Hikaru just won the American Cup. Now, I congratulated him, although we should note that he is the reason why I'm not playing, as he demanded that I was removed or not invited, and they invited players lower than me. However, I will not complain, and there's no reason for me to continue complaining, because me and Hikaru will face off in the Freestyle Paris tournament. It'll be a 960 tournament where I'll face off against Magnus, Hikaru, Gukesh. So, although I have not had the many opportunities to face off against them, this will be my big chance. So, until then, there'll be no more complaining. However, I did want to offer a recap and some insight into Hikaru's latest games, because there's been a lot of Bush League openings that I would like to analyze, and some games that I found quite interesting. So, let's start at the beginning. He faces off against Carissa Yip. Now, throughout this entire match, he played this, the typical Bush League Italian, at least play out of 3. So, essentially, these pieces are traded. It's quite weird stuff. Anyways, the game gets quite aggressive. G4, wow. Amazing move, Carissa. Great fighting spirit. H5, again, quite creative. Aiming for bishop h6. Bishop h6, g4 takes... this is very fiery chess. Probably should have taken and gone h4 to open things up immediately. But she wanted to just sort of develop her pieces, castle queenside, allowing Hikaru to establish sort of mini blockade. However, Black King is a bit weak. She doubles on the g file, rook to d1, sort of looking for the right moment to play h4. If h4 here, you sort of blockade. Bishop c8, aiming for h4 perhaps. Next move, knight c4, angling, attacking e5, b4. Again, now you can sort of blockade. So it's unclear what to do. Again, in blitz, she starts to get low on time, and now the Bush League Hikaru trick starts. So queen comes in, c4, b5, knight c3, b5, and she blunders a piece, she loses the game. Okay, fine. Pretty sloppy opening, pretty sloppy game, but anyways, he wins. Misha. Hikaru refuses to play serious openings, and it works against all these really weak players. Anyways, so sort of a normal Italian. Misha plays this insane move b5. This is not really sort of conducive, right? He wants to put the bishop to bishop d5. He had one chance to play b6 and then queen b3. So then now you're attacking f7. Let's say queen c7. Now you go maybe rook ab1 and going to recuperate the pawn and have the open b file. However, he misses this chance playing d4. Queen b3 takes, and then Hikaru comes on the attack, takes, and he objectively, you should just take the pawn. However, after rook f1, this queen and bishop. Okay, the bishop's not that bad, but the queen is sort of out of the game. The attack begins, and suddenly everything just collapses, and he wins the game. Okay, not the worst game, not the cleanest game. Now he plays Mishnick. Again, this typical sort of Bush League opening. He gets sort of a decent positional bind, castles queenside. A4. It's not like it's a completely fine position. The bishop on g5 is quite strong. At some point, Mishnick is trying to create counterplay by opening up the diagonal, but he responds quite calmly. This is a nice move as well, because rook e7 should not be forgotten. So he blunders rook e6. Now Hikaru finds a nice shot. You don't want to take immediately because the bishop can go to g4, so you play g4, taking, and then now the bishop's trapped. You win the game. This was a nice game for Hikaru, I will say. Then he plays Wesley So. I don't like that it's opening the final position. Again, Hikaru continues with his Bush League openings. Eventually they trade queens, getting into sort of a slightly worse endgame. This is sort of a Marshall-esque pawn sacrifice. Eventually you get obstacle bishops, but it's hard to make progress. Hikaru defends this well. There weren't really... It was hard. Anyways. The real sort of Bush League begins later. Arjun Chopra. So Chopra plays the perk, which I hope none of the viewers watching play the perk. It's a terrible opening. He plays d5 quite prematurely, allowing for b5. This is a very typical idea. Usually you want to maybe include bishop b3, play bishop f1, but you don't really want to. This is the sort of well-known thing. You don't go d5. this is just super weird. Okay, knight h2 is a normal move. We want to bring knight d3 to control d5. Brings knight, and then first of all, bishop e6. Why are you going? Like, this is a sort of lesson for beginner players. Do not put your, like, if there's a weakness, attack the weakness. Here you want to prepare d5, so then you can open up your bishop, and then all your pieces come. And it's prophylaxis, right? 10d4. Why would you play bishop e6? Hitting at your own pawn, right? And then bishop e3 is just even more insane. Like, why? So you spent these two moves, and then now he brings bishop to b6. He's offering to trade his opponent's worst piece with tempo. Okay, should have played d5. He's sort of a mini blockade. The knights are strong. He's defending. Once you stop d5, right, it's hard for black to be better, but it's hard for white to be better. So he's waiting and waiting and waiting. This is the typical Hikaru ring around the rosy. You look at the times. He's waiting for them to get low on time. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Suddenly he attacks. Waiting, waiting, waiting. And then finally, the blunder comes. And in the scrambles, this is really where he excels. So then, the rook is up. He starts attacking. Now he finds a nice move, knight e4. This was a bit smoother. The really nice move here is king g1. Prophylaxis, so like if the queen takes, you give a checkmate. Like if the queen moves from the f5 square, it doesn't cover d7, you just have checkmate. So let's say the rook moves, you can just check. And now queen here. Rooks come to d7, if here, you go mate. So it's difficult to see with time. Knight e4 is a nice sort of trick. Obviously, if takes, check, here, checkmate. Here, checkmate. Here, checkmate. So not a bad game from him. Pretty bad opening, however. Now, he gets a taste of his own medicine. And he starts playing his own line against him, which is quite ironic. Queen f3 is a real weird move. Knight g4, hard to say. Gets f5, gets some space. King h1. This is a nice moment. Bishop f7, king f7, and b4. Queen f7, knight queen b6. We saw the same theme in Hikaru's game against Carissa Yip. Now the knight's trapped. And you get a crucial f7 pawn, the king being quite weak. Misses that. Goes knight e2. But weak, c5, c4, good. C4, again, like if, in this case, like c4 takes. Eventually d5 is going to come. The bishop is super strong. The e4 pawn is weak. So he missed his chance. He got a bit of a blockade. Bishop d1 would have been a strong move. You can't take because of a3. You can't take because of this. So then white's going to get b3, and then you sort of close things down. Then a5 isn't that good, and then maybe you can start to dream about a kingside attack. I'd be thinking of something like this, and then h3, and then h2, and h4, and then maybe you take, and then h5, and then h3 or g3. And yes, bad knight, good knight, weak weaknesses. Eventually he breaks through and wins the game. Not a bad game. I will give him that. He plays Levon, who plays the French, exchange French, very, very Bush League of Hikaru. h3, interesting move. Bishop b3. But again, it's blitz. You get an attacking position. Queen b3, you get a bit of initiative. King h1 takes, knight e5. Queen b3 attacking this. Very, very concrete play. Rook progressing d5. But now, this pawn is just super weak, right? He's got the initiative. And again, look at the time. He's playing quickly. Hikaru is very good in these simple positions. Once he gets a game, then eventually, okay, he wins the game. Hikaru doesn't have the worst technique and time as well. Good win from Hikaru. However, he meets his match, Sam Sevian. Sam's a very serious player. So when Hikaru plays his Bush League Italian, so this is 92. This is my line. I played a lot of games against Dubov. Okay, I wasn't the first one to play it, but I've played a lot on this line. b3, I've had this many times. Knight d7. So he's playing quickly. Bishop g4 is a bit weird. Knight f1, knight b6, g4. He gets a good position. Knight b4 is a bit weird. c5 again. So this is a weird moment because c5 you're sort of playing in the center, but think about it this way. You have, you should be thinking about, okay, let's say you go queen d2. It's not really threatening to take it. Let's say you provoke c5 eventually. Then you start playing on the king side. Here, knight comes to f5, knight h4, rook h1. You've got the king's there. Right? c5 is not where you're playing. Like, when you have sort of a semi-exposed king, why are you opening up the position? So again, he loses the initiative, opens up the position, loses critical time. Again, he still gets the attack. And then Hikaru, of course, blunders. Bishop f7. Then he breaks through with this. So this was a nice game. Sort of Berlin-style structure. Anyways, Hikaru goes down to the young Sam Sevian. Great win from him. Then he plays Antii on left. And this was Bush League of them all. So again, all Italian. I wonder who started this Italian trend. A6, taking all the space. Great preparation. C3, Bishop D8. This Queen C8, Bishop D8 works in some ideas, but again, Hikaru is not the most theoretical player. H6, Bishop D4, Bishop D4, amazing move because takes here, takes H3, and there was this amazing sequence with here, Bishop B3, and now G4 would have been an amazing find because if E4 you take, there's only one way to defend, and then you go Bishop G5. Again, look at these pieces, and let's say rook here, Bishop F4, if rook back, Bishop B5. Next you take the rook, then you take the knight, everything just collapses. So let's say your only move is like here, and then Queen D7, you take, and now rook comes to E1, you got this pin, Bishop E5, rook E6, and this A pawn is just sort of a thorn, right? If this A7 pawn ever falls, it's going to be a huge problem. So unfortunately, he gets this great position, everything's going well. He should just sort of take and stabilize, protect his pieces, slowly win. But he goes for glory, and after Queen H4 and H5, things start getting messy. Check. He should just run away. Here it's a hard move. You should play like Queen C6. It's a hard move to find. E5 is sort of more logical. Sort of run away this way. Rook D4, Knight E4, Queen G6. He finds a good move. He runs. He takes, but again, look at the time, 3 seconds. It's impossible to survive this. Queen H5 would have been a nice prophylactic move, Bishop H3, but with no time, sort of Antii pulls a bit of a sort of Grishik style time travel ladder, and eventually he blunders. He has to, now he still has a draw. He can never really take, right? But that was an unfortunate. Hikaru gets the final win, winning the tournament because of sort of Antii time pressure. Aronian was a half point behind. So in general, congratulations to Hikaru for winning. I'll see you there next year, and I'll see you guys all in Paris with my amazing coach, Vladimir Kramnik. Let me know what you guys think of this content, and to all future Grandmasters, see you in the next one.